Hi, and we are here today to talk about the first part of our balance program, and it's called Get Aligned. And this is the foundational part because when you think about it, you can't build a house with a crooked foundation. And that's essentially the way it is with motion and good balance. You have to have a good foundation. And posture is one of those extremely important parts. So I want you to understand today the importance of why posture really makes a difference in balance. Really understanding it from your eyes to your muscles to your feet. And then what you need to be doing to improve your posture. I will give kind of a teaser that in every class from now on, we are going to start every class with a get aligned. And every time we're in the get aligned part, it's going to be about posture. And so today I want you to sit back for the first part and just get to know the importance. And then at the last part, we're going to get you feeling better posture, working on it, and experiencing it in your body. So to get started, did you have anything to add? I almost.
No,
'Cause
all
you
I
had
was going to say, really with posture, I know y'all will probably recognize a lot of what we're saying in these exercises. We've definitely sprinkled them in our classes before, but without y'all understanding the importance behind it and how to really look for it, I think this is definitely something that you need to bring within and be able to body sense, little teaser for later on. But getting aligned in your body is so important, whether you're wanting to do any kind of run, walk, or just straight like lifting like we do in our classes. It's a great way that it needs to be in everything you do, even when you're watching TV.
So posture is so important. And it's one of those things that we have a hard time sensing about ourselves when we're out of kilter. And so you have to get really adept at noticing what might be a symptom of not having good posture, how to start to body sense and become aware when you might catch an image. Like for me, I was able to notice a lot about my posture when I was in downtown Tulsa and they had the big buildings because during the coronavirus, my son likes to go on urban hikes. And I was just seeing the reflection of myself as I was walking, and I was like, I'm not up as tall as I am. So anytime you can get a visual about the way that you're moving, looking in the mirror, having somebody else tell you what's going on, and really getting used to feeling what's going on in your body will always help you with posture. Some common changes that you see, or I'm sure you're familiar with the forward neck. And I want to talk to you about why that's not good. The forward neck posture, when you think about it, when you put your head forward, you're changing your whole center of gravity. Your head weighs 8 to 10 pounds, and the more you move it off center, the more that weight increases. And so the more you do this with your neck, which is one of the posture changes that is very deceptive. You don't notice when you've got it, and it starts making that subtle change to your center of gravity, which can cause you to be more likely to have a fall. It also creates a lot of neck tension. So if you've got a lot of neck tension, you might start to think, well, where is my neck in space? And later on in today's talk, I'm going to show you, and we're going to go through it together, what you can do to help prevent or fight that forward neck posture. But that's part of it. The other thing is you might notice that your shoulders start to round forward. You start to shift the way and get more of a forward lean. And that is a normal change that can be fought. You don't want to go there. And if you're noticing that you're starting to come like this a little bit more, there are some things that we're going to work on today that can absolutely help you. The more forward you come, the more your body has to work. So just stand up with me. And I want you to come up as tall as you can. And knowing that sometimes it's hard to really know if you're good in posture, but think of just rising up tall and trying to have your shoulders over your hips, over your feet. And just notice how much effort. Now I want you to lean forward and a little more, and just notice how much more you're having to work. Can you feel anything in your back?
I say my back actually feels relaxed because I'm relaxing my back, but here I definitely feel that activation of the legs instantly because when I stand up, you're putting a lot more force here. I feel it more in my neck a little bit. It's very uncomfortable when you're leaned over.
I feel it right in the small of my back,
Below.
which is not something I normally feel. It's a definite change for me. What they know is when you have good posture, you're going to move more efficiently. So you're going to be able to move with greater ease, less pain. But also, we are designed that when we're in good posture, our structure, such as our bones and our tendons, actually carry the gravitational load, not our muscles. We really don't want our muscles to have to work. When I think of motion, if you think, oh, I'm having to work so hard, that means that maybe you don't have correct body mechanics going on or correct posture, because actually we're meant to move kind of effortlessly and supported completely by our structure and our bones.
And one thing with that I always think about when it comes to it, because I know a lot of people be like, oh, well, slouching over is more comfortable, and when I'm upright, it feels unnatural. It might bring a little bit of pain at first, but it's because your body has been trained. This is your new normal, but that's actually going to cause more issues down the line. So as soon as we open up, it's going to be that habit. So it is going to be a repetitions of the moves that we go through later that's going to make that feel easier. And when we when Jennifer says stack the joints, I always think about that in my own workouts, because if you don't stack them, that's when those injuries are going to occur. So anytime you're outside of that normal, and a lot of times they'll actually they'll look at how kids will walk or do certain sports activities, because for them, they haven't created those bad habits yet. So it's really interesting research out there, but we're trying to go back to the way you started and fix those things that we've done over time.
And we're about to get into some practical ideas that you can use that will definitely make an impact. But first, you have to be convinced that posture is important. And so if you're forward leaning, you're not supported by your structure, so your muscles have to work harder. You're going to notice you get more fatigued, have more pain. But then what you might not realize is that when you are forward leaning or your head's out, your breathing also isn't acting right. So you're not getting enough oxygen to every cell, which also gives you energy. So just think about it. Your diaphragm is a muscle that comes right under here, and it goes up and down as a muscle. And when you're up tall, it's got all of this room, and it actually, through your breathing, creates inner abdominal pressure that keeps your whole structure supported. When you round a little bit forward, if you want to turn to the side, she doesn't have as much room for that compression and retraction of her diaphragm. So her breathing's restricted. So that's another reason why you're going to want to work on good posture, because you want your structure supporting you and your diaphragm helping that structured support. So those are some of the important reasons to really work on good posture. It's going to get rid of pain. It's going to make you more efficient. You're going to breathe better. And so therefore, you're going to be able to do a lot more. So we want to figure out, well, what does it take to get into good posture? So 2 other things to bring up real quick. Usually when you think of posture, you think of muscles, or at least that's what I've always thought of. Oh, I just have to have the right muscles stretched and the right muscles strong, and my posture is going to be good. It's not so simple. I want to do an analogy real quick, because it's actually your feet and your eyes that play a big role in posture, and then your muscles. And that's because your feet are always in contact with the ground, telling you what type of environment you're maneuvering through, and your eyes are also telling you about the visual it's seeing. And so it's those 2 input sources that are always talking to your brain that actually start what happens with your posture. So if your feet and eyes aren't telling your body the right things, your posture has already got a little bit of a problem. And then the next thing, if you've got a lot of tightness through your chest and a lot of different habits going, that also impacts your posture. One thing to put as a side note for a little bit later on, when you're seated a lot, that can also change your posture, and we're going to address that towards the end. But for right here, let me do a quick analogy, and then we'll get on to it. If you were to think of yourself as a Formula One sports car, you want to think of your feet as the wheels and your eyes as the steering wheel. If your wheels are not aligned, you're going to have structural problems. And so if you have any problems with your feet, video 2, the next time we show the balance one, will be all about your feet. Also, your eyes are your steering wheel. Your eyes are what's directing your body and sending information to your brain. So let's just do a quick second teaser on the feet. So from right here, I want you just to stand up, move around, walk in place, and pause. Look down at your feet. They're giving the directional cue, but sometimes if you have some things going on with your feet or your legs, you actually turn them out to the side or into, and that has changed your posture right there. So I want you to bring your feet so that they're facing forward. And that's going to be extremely important for the start of your posture. So anytime you're wanting to work on posture, start and look down with your feet. Now, tomorrow's lecture, we're going to be talking about how feeling the pressure in the right parts of your feet get the right muscles to work and engage. So we're not going to go into that very long because we felt like that was so important that it needed its own talk. So stay tuned for tomorrow for that. But let's go into our eyes just a bit. Your eyes are what's telling your body what's going on. It's how you relate to your place in space. We're going to do several talks on how that affects balance. But for today, we're going to do how it affects our posture. They have found that when your eyes aren't tracking together and sensing together your environment, you can make little small changes in the way you hold your carriage from one shoulder down to a hip out to the side that changes the way you hold your body all the time, and you may not be aware of it. Have I explained that okay?
No, yeah, that's perfect. When she first explained it to me, I was like, the eyes, but you use them so much, but it's the little things that your body can be telling you, oh, I might need to actually work my posture just a little bit more.
So one quick trick for that is to take and bring your finger right in front and to look at your finger and watch it with both eyes and then make a circle in a counterclockwise direction tracking with your eyes. This is also a proprioception trick that we're going to be talking in lecture 3 about. And just do this for about 30 seconds. This gets both of your eyes working together. And that's extremely important for the way that your body is sensing where you're at in space and helping you find your balance. Okay, the next part, I'm going to get Sarah to turn to the side. Actually, in good posture, from your head to your shoulders, to your hip, to your ankle, well, you want to be in a straight line. You can have little changes like your hips moving forward. Go ahead and show that. Moving forward.
Yep.
Moving backward. Or your chin jetting out. And not even really aware of these things. But some of the things that we're going to teach today help you get closer without being able to see what's going on. So we're going to go through those first. I've got my thing back on. Okay, so to start, you're going to have your feet facing forward. Always make sure you've got that part right, and we have more information on that to come. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do is get your upper body lengthened. So you want to lengthen from the back crown of your head. So I like to say, place your hand right at the back part of your head, the crown of your head, and then take your hand about a 1/4 inch off, and then think of lengthening your head up towards that crown and trying to create just a little bit of space. Another way, if that doesn't really speak to you, is almost imagining somebody grabbed you from your ears and picked you up. Now, this can be done a lot with the power of your mind. So just try to feel it. There's a huge mind-body connection. And visualization, when you visualize something happening in your body, all of your muscles respond as if you're going to move into action. And it's that small change that is a powerful change for balance. So I want you to have just a quick example of this. So we're going to sit down real quick. And I want you to close your eyes. And you may have done this with me before, but I want you to try it now. And then I'm going to talk to you about it. So I just want you to have your eyes closed. And just notice your mouth and everything else. Okay, now I want you in your mind, using visualization and imagination, I want you to pretend like I just handed you a lemon to eat. And really visualize that lemon. Take a bite of it and feel it in your mouth. I really want you to notice the taste and texture of that lemon. Now notice in your mouth if you have more saliva. Can you tell a difference? Mm-hmm. That is that mind-body connection. Your body is always listening to your mind and making changes. I wanted you to feel this because that little subtle change is where postural change happens. You don't want to create another problem by overemphasizing something. So just a slight visualization can make the important part. So while you're staying seated here, you can come a little bit forward, check your foot placement, and imagine that string is pulling you up. So you can have it pull you up, you can lengthen up, or lift up from your ears, and let the mind-body connection really work to help you improve your posture. A lot of times when I'm walking or moving, and especially running, I always will have little times when I think, lift from the crown of your head, and I can just feel that subtle change, but I'm not working too hard. And that's the way you want to feel for a postural change. Okay, so that's step one, getting that up tall, that length through your spine. When you get that length and you're coming up, that's step one in dropping your chin and getting that correct chin placement. Because it's hard to leave your chin in that forward placement when somebody picks you up from the back of your head. So that helps with the forward head placement that we talked about. It also creates length through here. Okay, so now let's get into the core. I want you to use your abs. Part of being able to use your structure is that your abs stay strong and work to support you while everything else stays relaxed. So let's feel that. So I want you to come up tall, get that length through your spine, and place your hand on your low abs. And try to pull them in. Now for some of you, this may be hard to feel. So I've got something that I want you to try. I'm going to turn to the side, and I want you just to slouch and lean back. Now, from right here, pull and use your abs to come up. Can you feel that abdominal work bringing you up? Could you feel it?
I definitely could.
Okay. Those ab muscles that pull you out of a slouch are also the ones that you want to still feel when you sit up tall. So if you're having a hard time feeling it, lean back to the back of your chair, pull in with your abs, and come up and try to feel that same engagement. That can be another way to feel it. And so it gives me another thing to bring up right now, and that is when you sit a lot, they're beginning to say that it's one of the most deadly things. It can be really hard on your posture. When you sit too much, you actually change the curves through your spine, specifically the one in your low back. And we're going to work on that because you want to always keep the curves in your spine. So from right here, working on that, when you're seated, and keeping your abs strong. So even when you're seated, you still want to have that good posture. One way to know if you have good posture while seated is if you can sit without leaning back against anything for 30 minutes and feel no pain. So if you feel like, okay, I'm up tall, I can feel my abs working, I think I've got good posture, during your next TV show, test it. Set a timer, don't lean back against anything, come up tall, and see if you can maintain that for 30 minutes without any pain. And if so, that means you have a good seated posture. So now let's take that up to standing. So from right here, what I want you to do is get that abdominal engagement. You can either slouch, pull in with your abs and use them to bring you up so you can feel it, or place your hands on your abs and just pull your abs away. Now have your feet shoulder distance and just see if you can come up to standing without using your arms, and you'll feel those abs engaged then too.
And one key thing is, I know anytime that we talk about bringing your core in, try not to hold your breath, because that can be a common mistake with this when you think, okay, I need to suck my belly and I'm holding my breath, but we really want to work on that engagement while still being able to breathe through the movement as well.
And sometimes you can use your exhale to find it.
Exactly.
So right now, just even feeling that, just take an exhale. And as you do, think of drawing in with your abs. And sometimes that exhale actually helps you feel your abs more. So you should always be breathing.
Exactly.
So with the good posture, have your feet standing forward. Get that length through the back of the head. And then pull in with your abs. And that should feel just in the low belly like a draw in. Okay, so just try to feel those things. Make sure your feet are facing forward. Your belly is strong and your head is lifted. You'll feel your shoulders kind of rest in their place and you're not trying to artificially put them there. So then there are some tests that you can do to see if you're actually getting that abdominal engagement and that lift. So the first one, put your hands right where your hips are and move them about 1/4 of an inch away, not very far. And just start to walk in place. You might notice that your hips are swinging from side to side, hitting your hands. Pause, and now pull in with your abs. Try to hold those abs nice and tight and do that same thing, but don't let your abs go, and you'll notice that your hips don't move as much from side to side. This is really important for balance and keeping your whole pelvic girdle supported, but it's also a way to check, is my core working? Another reason that the core is so important, remember when we talked about leaning forward and center of gravity? We want to try and combat that forward lean. When your abs are engaged, it's harder to get that forward lean. So we're going to just try it real quick. I want you just to flop over and notice your body. Let everything dangle and come back up. Now, pull in with your abs, whatever it takes to get that feeling, and then try to flop over. When your abs are engaged, you can't really move forward unless you're doing what we're always talking about, which is the hip hinge. But you can't just flop because this is secure. So it helps you not get that forward lean. So you're going to want to get good posture, lift up nice and tall, and then get that abdominal engagement. This will help keep you in good form, protected, and you can always then test your hips. How much are they moving from side to side? And can I flop over? If you can't and you see those things come in line, you're in a pretty good line for good posture. Anything I've left out on that?
Nope, that's perfect. That's what I would always say too, because when you're in that good line, and too, because we've talked about the breath, so we talk about you should be able to breathe the whole time, because when you're flopped over, it's much harder, even if you just try that, to get that full breath. But we really want to keep that core activated, nice big inhale, exhale, and I think that point earlier was great with that exhale. You can always refine it again. And during our classes, we'll also cue for that to make sure you have that at all times, because it does really protect you during all those strength movements we'll be doing.
It is our commitment to be continually working on this. We see the importance. So from now on, at at the beginning of every class, it will be Get Aligned. The Get Aligned is working on good posture, the right connection with your feet, having healthy eyes that work as the steering wheel, and pulling it all together. We're giving you this talk today so that you understand the importance and can even work on it when you're not in class. Also, you're going to start to notice all over campus, we've got little flyers that will have reminders of Get Aligned. So look for those all over campus because we want it to be something that comes into your body. And secondly, remember, you're not trying to force. It's that little mind-body connection of lift up with my ears or the back of my head and pull in. It's a small, subtle change. And maybe it's a small, subtle change that gets gradually more and more improved. When you first visualize it, you may not be there. You may look in a mirror and say, I thought I was really straight. And it's a subtle difference. But by continuing to work with the mind-body connection, you will notice more and more improvements. Gradual and slow, over time, just like your posture changed over time. So, the last thing I wanted to do was sometimes it can be a little more troubling if you're fighting that forward head lean. And so I want to just take you through some stretches. These will be particularly good for you if you have any neck pain. So I guess we can sit down and teach this one. It doesn't really matter. But my favorite, you've probably seen it in a lot of the classes, is 2 fingers onto the chin, level your chin, and then pull back, and then reach forward. So as you're doing this, you might feel all of that move through your cervical spine. And that's good, and this is one of the best for getting that backward correct neck placement. The next thing is to get this stretched out because we can get so tight through there. I'm sure many of you have felt it. So to do that, you're going to lay your ear onto your shoulder and pull this other shoulder down. And then just gently pull if you feel good doing that. And just hold for about 30 seconds. Remember, it's the time under tension or stretch. I just stole one of Sarah's. And then to the other side. Also, we can get really tight through here. I know that we all fight it, especially if you're doing a lot of computer work, things like that. And so doing things to open your chest, really reach. Always try to feel that stretch right through here and right through here. I love too when I'm going through a door at home, I like to put my elbow and hand against the door and then just pull into that stretch. Just opens all of this and those muscles can get kind of tight and create that forward round. So those are the 3 things I have as a suggestion for you if you notice that you're either rounding your shoulders a lot forward or your neck is starting to come forward. Anything else to add?
I think that's it. I think we covered it. And this is the great, as we said, this will always be step number 1. So you'll learn new movements along the way. But we're really excited to get the rest of it out as well.
And if the only thing you took was, oh my gosh, I want my center of gravity to be as good as possible. I want my foundation to be as good as possible. Posture is important. Then that is what we wanted you to get out of today.
Perfect.
Have a wonderful day.